Rate sheets. That's what we're talking about. Sorry for, you know, it's frustrating because I've been recording videos for the past 10 years on YouTube, and everything is working. I mean, my studio's working great. Audio's working great. Everything's channeled properly, but for 2 days in a row now, can't get the audio from here to YouTube through my computer. So we're doing it through the mobile phone, bypassing the audio interface and all that kind of fun stuff. So hope you guys doing well. Thanks for being here. Yeah, well, the sound is you're hearing me because I'm simply coming through my telephone. So my mobile phone. Telephone kind of dates me, right? Well, let's talk about rate sheets today. And by the way, at some point, I don't know if it's a YouTube thing or what it is. We'll figure it out at some point. But regardless, we'll use the phone in the meantime. I want to talk about rate sheets. It came up in conversation yesterday in the weekly session that I have. One of the weekly sessions that I have with my VoiceOver Blueprint students. And I want to talk about it a little bit. The idea is do you need a VoiceOver rate card or a rate sheet? Rate sheet, rate card, same thing. It's a document that, for me, it's a Microsoft Word document that has rates. And so, yes, it's a good idea to have a rate card. But here's the thing. People make a mistake in thinking that there is a rate card. There is a standard. This is what I should charge. When the reality is the market is big and broad, and one corporate client might be a small company in comparison to another corporate client that stands to generate many more thousands of dollars from your work than the smaller one. So the value is not the same. Same thing with with commercials and you name it, whatever. Budgets are different. So my recommendation, obviously it's your business, you do it as you want, but my recommendation from a business perspective is to not get too married to the idea of a rate card. And where should you get this? Go do some research. What I did is early on in my career, I went out and did some research. I just went out and just looked at different, a lot of people posted on their websites. I just wanted to get an idea. Plus, doing this for a while and, working with agencies and working on pay-to-play sites and with, thousands and thousands of clients, I get an idea of what the range is. And so what I like to do is set up my rate sheet or rate card at some place above the middle, not at the highest end, not low end, not at the budget, what I call the value part of the scale. Value is where a client feels like they got more than they paid for. And I think that's important, that a client should always feel like they get more than what they paid for. But here's the thing, never lead with that. So when somebody comes to you with a project, says, hey, can you give me a rate on this? Always lead by saying, well, what's your VoiceOver budget for this project? Ask them. Because often, usually in my experience, about half the time, they'll tell you what it is. So if you know what their budget is, that's half the battle. Because at that point, you either know they're in the ballpark or they're not even anywhere close. Or they may be willing to pay you more than what you were willing to ask. That can happen too, and it does happen. So, but without that information, you are flying blind. And the thing is, if they come in like considerably lower than what you would typically ask, all things considered, then what you can do is you can use your rate sheet as a negotiation tool. You can simply say, well, let's just say, for instance, let's say it's an explainer video. And they say, I've got an explainer video, can you record it? And you say, well, what's your VoiceOver budget for this? They say $75. Well, let's say that your established rate is $400 on your rate sheet. What you can do is if you want to negotiate, and that's a pretty big spread, so it might not even be worth your while, but you can always go back and say, you know what, my standard rate for a project like this is $400. Can we meet someplace in the middle? It becomes, again, it's a tool. It's not a Bible. It's not something that you hold to and say, well, this is, everything must be according to what this says. I mean, you can. I mean, hey, it's your business. You do whatever you want. But if you want to maximize your revenue, if you don't make sure you don't get paid too little for a project and you want to get the most that you can, this I have found in my many years of experience is the best way to do it. So you have that rate sheet you can refer back to and say, well, my standard rate is $400. Can we meet someplace in the middle? And by the way, if you're willing to give up something, for instance, let's say you wanted 400, but they can only pay you 300. Great. If you can get something in return, because that way it keeps the relationship equitable on both sides. If you're just giving away stuff, yeah, sure, okay, sure, I'll do it for that. Well, then it does not generate any respect towards you from the client. They need to know that you're giving up something. So typically, what's the easiest thing to do is to get a longer delivery date. So instead of delivering it if they want it that day, I need 24 to 48 hours. Get something in return. Usually delivery time is the easiest thing to negotiate into that. So again, rate sheets can be good. They can be helpful. Don't get married to the idea of a rate sheet or a certain rate sheet that somebody says, well, this is what you should charge. There is no should charge. It's approach it so that you understand where the client's at, what they're at, what their budget is, what the value is to them. And then once you understand that, then you can possibly negotiate a good rate for yourself. And if you can't, fine, you can walk away from it. Again, your business, no harm, no foul. But if you have a rate sheet, it's a tool that can be used to negotiate, but always open with a statement. What's your voiceover budget for this project? Know where they're at. Know where they're at if you can. Again, they won't always tell you that. Usually what happens is they'll say, well, what's your rate sheet? So you show it to them. And then what they'll do is they'll come back and they'll look at it and they'll say, well, I can't pay that much. Okay, well, what can you pay? Well, as you can see, my rate is this. So let's work on something that's equitable for both of us. So again, just a little tip to help you to maximize your revenue. You don't want to leave money on the table. But then again, there are clients that you could possibly work with at a reasonable rate, something that you would both be happy with, but you have to understand how to approach it. And this is the best way that I've found in my 17 years of experience in working with VoiceOver to do that. Hey, thanks for being on the live stream. I appreciate when you guys check in. It's a little harder to do this on my little iPhone, but I'm going to try to go through and just give some recognition to folks. Phil in Tokyo, little roll call here for Denise. Thank you for being here in Long Island. Sandra, Bob in Reedsville, North Carolina. Rob, how are you doing? All right, Rob just got his first repeat Fiverr client. Rob's a student in the VoiceOver Blueprint. Rob, congrats to you. Very proud of you. Way to go. That's awesome. That's exciting. Bill in Idaho and Dave in New York City. We've got Gene in Dallas-Fort Worth, Jack in Phoenix. Hey, Aaron in Columbia, Missouri. Steve in Linden, California. The cherry capital of the world. But you guys didn't come out with Michigan cherry coffee or California cherry coffee first, did you? Or did you? If there is, let me know. I'd like to be interested in checking that out because I'm a big fan of the Michigan cherry coffee. Hey, Rob, how are you doing? Even with the phone, it's not interesting with your. It's not interfering with your content. Okay, well, thanks, Rob. I appreciate that. Hey, Rusty in the UP, John in Rhinebeck, New York. We've got Ryan in Long Island, Tim in Altoona, Jim in South Jersey. What's going on? Gregory, good morning. Bob in Wadsworth, Ohio. Denise, good morning. Dwight. Yeah, let's see here. Terry in Maryland. Scotty in Brookings, South Dakota. Marie in Texas. Tony in Denmark, Wisconsin. John, Chicago. Bernard, good morning in Atlanta. JR in Austin, Texas. Wade in Philadelphia. Kathleen, Sandra in Westerville. AJB, what's going on? Monica, Sebastian, Greg, Wayne, Jim in East Texas. We've got Northern Michigan checking in, and Melissa in San Diego. Hey, guys, thanks again for being here. I appreciate it. Make it a great day. Get a rate sheet together, but always, always, always negotiate. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.